Hey everybody, this is Jay.
Hey, it's Dorian.
And we hope you are doing well on this wonderful, wonderful evening. Tonight we are going to be switching gears like how we said in the last commercial. We're going to be talking about All Lives Matter versus Black Lives Matter for our 15-minute refuel tonight. So why don't we get started, okay? So All Lives Matter versus Black Lives Matter. What jumps out to you when you hear that statement?
Well, it's popular right now. Everybody, this like all you hear. That's all that's on my feed. It's like you either one side or the other side. You see a lot of comments, different things that people are saying. People getting offended because people are saying all lives matters and not really understanding the fullness of what Black Lives Matter is about. Why it's triggering and offensive when people say all lives matters. That's what I've been seeing right about now. And I'll be honest, like probably some years back, I used to be like, but all lives matter. I used to be like that too. And I'm Black. Like, what the world? I didn't have the full understanding, because it's that whole thing like, well, Jesus loves everyone. Yes, he does, but it's the idea that all lives, we can't say that all lives matter because there's a group of people that are not counted in that all lives matters name in this nation.
I think for me, kind of piggyback off of what you just said, all lives matter is a very triggering word right now. I put it in a couple categories. All lives matter is a triggering word. It is a word that's a phrase that's ignorant, and I think it's a phrase that people use to troll as well. So one of the things that I've just been seeing is certain people have been saying all lives matter and they don't really know what that means. I think there's some people who legitimately mean it for good by saying everybody should be created equal, right? So all lives should matter, right? All lives should matter. I don't really understand why they don't. And there are some people who are saying all lives matter just to incite something, especially on social media. So, just to piggyback off what you said, all lives matter is a statement that will always be controversial because we know right now that they don't.
Right.
We know right now people of color, our lives are not equal, right, to those who are Caucasian. And so all lives can't matter until Black lives do, right? That's the phrase you keep hearing, but it's the God's honest truth, right? Because if all of us are supposed to be created equal and we know that this group of people, this race is not being created equal, have never been created equal for the last 400 years, we can't use that phrase and be comfortable in saying all lives matter, right? So that's the thing that jumps out to me when I hear that phrase, all lives matter.
And Black Lives Matter, wait, is it matters with an S? Because I always be trying to put an S on the end of my
Black
stuff.
Lives Matter.
Okay, so take my S off that I said
It's
before.
not Black Lives Matters.
I'm always trying to put an S on stuff.
Black Lives Matters. That sounds like a sitcom or something. Remember Family Matters?
See, that's
Black Lives
probably why
Matters.
I'm trying to do that. Okay.
TGIF.
Thank God it's Friday.
A lot of these people don't even know what TGIF was.
I used to rush home for that. Really though?
Fly just flew right in my face.
Getting off topic.
Okay.
So look, but Black Lives Matter also, it's not just a all Black thing. I feel like that's something that I've seen too, almost the idea that this is just like, fight the power and there's nobody, it's just the Black folk. But really it's a movement of all races standing in the gap for the one that is dismissed, the one that is, treated poorly. It's almost like you have a family of children and one child is not treated fairly and all the other children stand around and stand in solidarity for that one child to be treated equally. Like, nah, mom and dad, we ain't going out like that. You got to treat this one, Lil Ray Ray, right too. So it's that thing. It's not just like a Black thing. And I think that's probably why I shied away from really even trying to understand fully the Black Lives Matter movement back when it first kind of started, because it's just like, well, I don't want to put myself over in a category and now I'm like rah rah over here and don't care about anybody else, but that's not what it is either.
Yeah, I mean, Black Lives Matter movement is, it's supposed to be all cultures coming together, right? Like what we're seeing happening in today's day and age is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it brings tears to your eyes to see white people staying alongside with black people, Indian people,
Yep.
Asian people, Latino people, all coming together for a cause, right?
Yeah.
You know, so the Black Lives Matter movement is never supposed to be, and is never intended to be anti-white.
Right.
Yeah. You know, it is supposed to be us coming together and saying, hey, we recognize that people of color are not being treated fairly, right? So what you're seeing at the protests, different rallies, is exactly what the Black Lives Matter movement is all about. Is bringing different races together and uniting us, right? Letting people know we're not going to have a race war, right? We are going to come together and say, hey, until there's equal justice, until there's justice for George Floyd, for Breonna Taylor, for Ahmaud Arbery, for the countless others, we're not going to be silent. You know, that's what the Black Lives Matter is all about. So I kind of want to throw out there, if anybody is a part of a movement and they're saying white people are the devil and stuff like that, that is not the Black Lives Matter movement.
Yeah.
That's a hate group.
Yeah.
Okay? That's a hate group. Okay? Because that is not what it's designed to be. You know? So I kind of just want to put that out there because I know a lot of people are thinking, well, I can't be a part of the Black Lives Matter movement because I'm not black. No, just turn on your TV, right? Look on your computer screen and see all the races that are coming together. That's what it's about. You know, coming together for justice and equality. You know.
So we wanted to get into just some ways to deal with, let's say, somebody that you might be talking to, somebody on Facebook or whatever, who is strong, all lives matter, and how you engage that, how you deal with that, how you refrain from popping off from that. Jay had an interesting discourse on social media, but like last week or something like that, where he was able to do that and be a, kind of like bridge and give some information to, I think it was a couple of our Caucasian brothers.
Yeah.
Online.
So the first thing I did is I cussed them all out and I said, yo, you are not going to be talking about us like
That's
that.
effective.
If that happens, I'm going to bust every single last one of y'all upside your head. All right. That's not what happened. I'm just making sure y'all still paying attention to our video.
Tactics.
Yeah, just mind tactics. I was on a social media platform, and they had posted about the Black Lives Matter movement. It was a sports page, and one brother, a white brother, said all lives matter in all caps. Man, I'm telling you, they were eviscerating him. And I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw it, I was just like, this guy's a troll. But the Holy Spirit just said, hey, you know what? The only way that you're going to create change is if you help teach, right? Because basically what was happening is everybody was just calling him a racist, right? And it was just egging him on even more. He's like, oh, I'm a racist. How you don't even know me? Da-da-da-da-da. And I just told him, I said, can I be honest with you? And I'm typing all this, the all lives matter phrase is offensive, and he was like, well, why is it offensive? All lives do matter. And that's when I had to break down to him, be like, yes, all lives should matter. That should be the motto of this country, right? That motto of our country should not be make America great again. The motto of this country should be all lives matter, but they don't, right? And you saw the video of George Floyd being choked to death, all right, suffocated to death, when he was begging for mercy, when he was screaming out for his mother, okay? That's a clear example that all lives don't matter, because all lives didn't kill him, right? There was a white person that killed him, right? And I had to break it down to him, that, I have 2 college degrees, I live in a nice, neighborhood, and I have a great job, have a great family, but at the end of the day, me and you are not viewed as equal. All right, your life is viewed as more valuable than me, and I put a scenario in there in which if I get pulled over from the police and you get pulled over from the police, it's 2 different feelings, right? So if you get pulled over from the police, you're most nervous about is getting a ticket, okay? If I get pulled over from the police, I'm the most nervous about, am I going to make it out of this alive? Just to be transparent with you all that are listening. One of the reasons why we have life insurance isn't because I'm afraid I'm going to get a disease and die. It's because I'm afraid I might get pulled over by the cops. and it doesn't work out all that great. That's one of the things that's sobering about when somebody says all lives matter and all that kind of stuff. And I was breaking this down to him, and he was just like, wow, like I didn't think about that, you know? So it was a great dialogue that I had with him, a couple other people that jumped in, and they were all lives matter flag bearers. And, they were just like, well, thank you for, breaking this down to me, because I didn't understand, and I'm sure some people probably still afterward was just like, all lives matter. But for the most part, it was a teaching moment, right? Because I could have easily jumped in and jumped on that guy for saying that,
Yeah.
So it was a great opportunity to teach.
Yeah.
And
educate. That's one of the points that we have. The one thing, like, as we're walking, Jay and I talking, as we're walking through this stuff, is like how to deal. So if somebody says something offensive during these very sensitive and emotionally fragile times,
very much so.
The first thing is just breathe. Do a heart check real quick. Is this a conversation that I'm emotionally and mentally prepared to even take on right now, and it not turn into a pop off, it not turn into an argument, and not make matters worse? Is this something that I can handle right now? And it's nothing wrong with saying, like, look, I'm just not in the right headspace for this right now.
Right.
We'll come back to this at a different time. But really just taking a step back before we just shoot off a response. Because a lot of times that does. It comes from the emotion, all the pent up frustrations and all of that. And that already just shuts down as far as the other person to hearing what you have to say.
Right.
And then that other part, looking at it as a teaching opportunity. Because sometimes, how folk, look, it don't even got nothing to do with that. But sometimes, when I be at work and folk be asking me stuff and it be irking me, like, why don't you know this? And, that type stuff. It's like, hey, pause. Let's use this as a teaching opportunity, and not just be like, how come you don't know? Like, why do I have to explain this to you?
Right.
You should understand where I'm coming from, but looking at this is like, how can I teach this person? How can I take a break, and really get them to understand? Because everybody's not just being a jerk. Like, some people really don't know.
Some people don't know.
They really don't know. And they just say stuff because that's what they hear people say and what their family is saying. They just don't know. It's like stuff like this. It's like you got to pick one side or the other. So it's like, well, I'm gonna just go with all lives matter because I can't go with Black Lives Matter because that ain't. It's all of that. But really taking it as a teaching opportunity. Also keeping your cool, because it's just like, yo, this stuff is. It's like right there. It's like at your neck. It's right there.
Give me a reason.
Like
that's
look,
basically how we all feeling right now.
And be justified with the situations.
Right.
But no, it's like keeping your cool and then rolling that back. If my cool can't be kept, then I need to keep it pushing. This is not a conversation that I need to have with this person right now.
Right.
And being aware of the stat traps. Me and Jay was talking about the stat traps. Because you be like, Black Lives Matter. Like, yeah, well, what about black on black violence? Yeah, well, what about the abortion rate in inner city? Yeah, well, what about and it's just like, nah, we ain't even doing that. Because it's a stat trap. We can go back and forth all day long with these stats about
it doesn't resolve anything.
Nowhere. It's like you put your foot in a bear claw trap, you ain't going nowhere for a long time. And nobody gets anywhere. No progress is made when we get caught in that. And no one want to walk away.
Right.
Like, some people are not going to be convinced. Like, their heart is just not ready to change.
Yeah.
Their perspective is still, just jacked up a little bit, and we've all been there with different things. It's just like, you know what? It's cool. I just need to bow out.
Yeah. I think because the thing I think I made that statement is, if you're still stuck on the disrespecting the American flag, when people are talking about kneeling and protesting, when it's been explained to you millions of times why Colin Kaepernick did what he did. A Green Beret actually gave him, the advice to kneel in a way to peacefully protest. So if you're still stuck on the American flag being disrespected, if you're still stuck on All Lives Matter after people have explained to you that Black Lives Matter movement is not about it being anti-white, all right, then you're just stuck. And you're choosing to be stuck, right? So people like that aren't teachable, right? And I think it's important for us to not get our emotions all caught up into that, is when people are on those two things, I'm not going to waste my time. You just want to be, miserable, right? And you're probably going to remain bigoted and racist, right? And,
that's no good.
Yeah, may God have mercy on you. I'm not wasting my time with you. So
this stuff is tight, y'all.
Yeah.
And this is pushing us, out of our comfort zone too, and just discussing difficult things, especially on just like a social media platform. So, we hope this helped you guys to kind of navigate this a little bit better. Shoot us an email, shoot us a message, a comment, whatever, however we can be of help. Just let us know, and then we'll check in with y'all in a couple weeks.
Hope this helped you guys out. Please share. Please tag somebody in it. Have a great evening.
See ya.
Love you guys.